bedroom, where I would sit in silence, reflecting of what I was just a few years ago. I know I never could understand what it is you wanted me to do. Tell me again what you've been through. What is it you wanted me to do? I was trying to look up at you, but you're always gone. So I started to become what you said I wasn't enough. I'm quiet comfort, I never speak up, I never bother you. I'm boring and predictable and always floating through. I know I never could understand what it is you wanted me to do. Tell me again what you've been through. What is it you wanted me to do? Tell me what you wanted. It's not okay now. I was just trying to grow. It's not okay now. I was just trying to grow. It's not okay now. I was just trying to grow. It's not okay now. I was just trying to grow. It's not okay now. I was just trying to grow. It's not okay now. I was just trying to grow. I had a hard year right from the start. The exit interview leading to the car. I can't even believe this is where I was. Outside in the cold, nothing can change. Here's where I rest, hours in regret, waiting to bloom. Someone lead me through. Here's where I rest, head full of regret, waiting to bloom. No one cared for you. No one cared for you. I can't even think of how to start an exit interview. What broke me apart? Here's where I rest.
right. We got this. Will be jumping on here in just a minute or two. So I'm making sure everything is ready to roll. And we're going to friggin' have a blast. Super stoked to finally get this one rolling, man. Will's been awesome. Super flexible, making sure that we get our times coincided here. So I'm super stoked to get this thing rolling.
I think I'd rather die knowing that I was really good at something. Here's where I rest, hours in regret, waiting to bloom. Someone lead me through.
Pretty cool music too.
Here's where I rest, head full of regret, waiting to bloom. No one can for you. No one can for you.
Yeah, I initially had this one scheduled for last night. And at my church, we do what's called a trunk or treat. So not on Halloween night, like usually a day or two before Halloween, which last night, obviously. And everyone just parks in the church parking lot, opens up their trunks, decorates, and sits there and hands out candy. So took my boys last night to do that, and we had youngest one was Mario and the oldest one was Luigi, and it was a success. It was awesome. They absolutely loved it. So it was awesome that that Will was willing to reschedule so I could go do that with my boys. So that was super rad of him. And so now we're gonna be able to actually do the interview here and have a blast. So right now you're obviously listening to his music in the background. Might be a little louder than for you than it is for me in my headset, so hopefully it's not overwhelmingly loud right now. But yeah, he should be jumping on here in just a minute, and we're ready to roll. I'm stoked. Make sure I have Do Not Disturb on, so that way we don't get any notifications. Let's try and put right there. Make sure we don't get any vibration sounds from the phone. And we should be chilling. Like I said, his music is pretty darn sick, so I'm excited to talk to him about it. There he is. Alright, let me hit pause on the music here. And let's get this rolling. Yo, what's going on, brother? Hey, how's it going, man?
Oh, well, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, this is so cool. I ran everything through like my recording setup, so it's like a lot easier for me. I'm sorry I didn't get your email on time and there was a lot of confusion.
Dude, you're totally fine. Not a problem at all. I keep talking real quick.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So how was your trunk or treat last night?
Oh, it's so great, dude. I'm getting a little bit of feedback as you talk. There's a little bit of static as you're talking. I'm not sure.
Like really loud?
No, it's just staticky. I'm not sure. Keep talking.
All right. I can.
Oh, that sounds, yeah. I don't know what it was. It's not staticky anymore, so.
I think I have my mic cranked really loud.
Yeah. Yeah, right there where whatever you did, I don't know if you did anything, but whatever happened, it's better now.
Awesome. I just turned it down. I think it was like really loud.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it sounded like feedback. I just wasn't sure, so. Well, dude, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. You've been doing it for a while, huh?
Yeah, it's been a couple of years now. It's crazy to think of how quickly time flies. So.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, dude. So real quick, if you want to just start out, just do a quick introduction of yourself and, kind of elementary school style, tell us something unique about you.
All right, cool. Well, my name is William. I have a newer band called Willcody. It started me just playing acoustic and writing different songs. I used to play in this like post-hardcore band called Wolves at Bay for a long time, and then I was in a band called In Response, and then I was in this band Real Love. And during the pandemic, obviously everything got a little crazy, so I started writing different songs, and I've been doing that now for a bit. I've been playing music, like I said, like my whole life, pretty much since I was like 13 or 14, going to shows, and yeah, something. I'm from Connecticut, born and raised, and I live right now in a place in Hamden, which is like 10 minutes from downtown New Haven.
Oh, nice,
And
man.
yeah, something unique about myself. Uh, well, I mean, I love cats, and I'm
Okay.
vegan, and I've been straight edge now since I was like 18. Uh,
Okay. Nice, man. So just out of curiosity, what inspired the vegan lifestyle?
um, you know, I was obviously I wasn't. I never ate a lot of meat growing up, and when I was in towards the end of high school, it's kind of funny. I started feeling like really crappy. Like I just
Mm-hmm.
didn't, and I started reading up on what you can do for your mental health as well as your body and how they're very related. And I just kind of did the generic thing where I watched like a bunch of really sad documentaries on oh, this sucks, and I want to feel better about myself as well. So actually, I started, pretty much right after high school. I went through a really rough time, and after I got out of that rough time, I started, exercising more and trying to take better care of myself as well. So I guess that kind of, yeah, it's like learning up on it, I guess you would say.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, it's I feel like it's um obviously like there's a lot of different reasonings and a lot of different justifications. So it's I commend you. It's not the easiest thing. I guess it's not necessarily hard, but I'm sure as you've done it longer and longer, it's the easier it is um to do it. But
Oh yeah, at first, I mean, I would go to the grocery store and spend like an hour just reading all the ingredients, and
yeah.
up on my phone. And I'm like, I've never heard of this word before. It doesn't sound good. And then you find out what it is. And yeah, but like the most important takeaway of any like being vegan, paleo, or pescatarian, vegetarian, the most important thing is that you cannot judge other people for eating meat or not eating meat or whatever. Like you
Yeah.
can't. It doesn't matter. I have great friends that do eat meat and don't eat meat, and do drink and don't drink, and do drugs. Like, I don't judge them, man. Like that's not the way to do it. That's
Yeah.
like no.
Yeah, that's my attitude on it too. Like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any sort of drugs or anything, but I'm not going to like look down on someone who does stuff that I don't do, right? Like it's cuz that's just stupid to look down on people. Like I I had a manager, she was the first vegan I met who wasn't like in my face. And it was like, hey, this is like it made it a lot more enjoyable to kind of go out of our way to find a place that she could enjoy eating as well, not just us, right? Because it was like it's easy when like they're kind of like dirt bags to be like, oh well, we're gonna go where we want to go. But when they're nice and they're not like in your face about it, it's really easy to just be like, yeah, I
Yeah,
want to accommodate you too,
I hear that. I mean, a lot of that too, right? Like you said, it's all about perspective and your perception of it and who you've interacted with. Like I think that a lot of people that I've worked with, especially, um, have been like, "Oh, you're vegan? I didn't even know." And I'm like, "Why does that matter? It doesn't matter. Who cares? Like, I see you eating, and I'm like, yeah, I eat food. Like,
Yeah,
it's
vegans they still eat, bro.
funny. Like, people's perspective and perception on it is just crazy.
Yeah, like I said, usually it was almost like this like I don't know what, like a lot of people I had met previous would always kind of like wear it like this, like pity me slash I'm better than you at the same time type badge. You know what I mean?
No, I definitely understand what you're saying. It's weird. It definitely is weird. You use it as like a crutch almost. It's
Yeah.
strange.
So what when you started like obviously going through all that rough patch post high school time, I'm obviously glad that things are better now. But when you started kind of going through that patch and um, started doing all your research and stuff, how did like I don't know much of like the I know obviously like in terms of keto or paleo or things like that, but what was it that made you land on veganism as kind of like the solution to the problem?
Oh, that's a good question. Uh, well, like I said, I mean, a lot of it was it kind a good way to put it. And when people ask kind of some of the things, I always say that like it really kept me in line. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
very obviously it's very easy to be like a junk food vegan, eat Oreo. But I mean, it just kind of helped me, be more conscious of what I was eating in general.
Yeah.
So that kind of reading up, like I said, health benefits and how your body reacts to certain things, certain chemicals, especially.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of work involved in all of that. Like, but as I talked to like I said, my previous manager, I basically learned, yeah, it's a lot of work for the first little bit, but after it just becomes your lifestyle. Everything is just kind of natural, just like everyone else's food. And so when you mentioned that, people were like, "Wait, you're vegan?" Like I kind of thought the same thing when I was like, "Wait, you're eating like at a restaurant?" And she's like, "Yeah, like obviously I can still eat at restaurants." I was like, "Oh, I'm an
Oh yeah,
idiot."
some places, right? I just cook a lot at home, honestly. Like I just cut out the middleman. Cook a lot at home.
Yeah. What's your favorite meal? Totally obviously like we haven't even talked about music yet and I apologize, but I for me this is fun to like pick your brain.
My favorite food. Ooh. Man, this is a rough one. I definitely like hash browns a lot, and these field roast sage like sausages. It's like when I go for a run Saturday morning at like 7 after like whatever, like my day off. I wake up, I go for a run, I go home, make some hash browns, man.
Mhm.
And I don't know why it's my favorite. I can eat that any time of day.
Dude, I
Hash
freaking
browns,
love hash browns, bro.
good.
Yeah, like freaking like breakfast burritos with I guess for you obviously it'd be different, but mine would be like hash browns and eggs and dude, I freaking hash browns are one of the best things. So I can get on board with that.
Oh, yeah.
Did you cook a lot prior to being vegan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was home alone a lot, so I was like the little kid, like in the grocery store by himself, like grabbing.
But no one looked at you like they did and Kevin McAllister, right? Like
No, they probably did. They're probably like, why is this little guy like, like
That's awesome, dude. So I am curious. Obviously, you mentioned you used to be in a post-hardcore band, and then obviously pandemic hit, and you started writing different kinds of music, like different type of music. Kind of two parts to that question. With are you still part of the post-hardcore band, or did you kind of push that off completely?
no. It's weird, It's like I just thought it was dead, it's just like people grow up, right? People do different things, and
Yeah, yeah.
you know, the kid I was playing guitar with me, or in our band, he just bought a house. I know he was really busy. Um, you know, my bass player and I are still friends. We're all still friends. And then my drummer, who's like one of my really good friends, he ended up getting a really awesome promotion. He had to move out of state.
Oh,
So
dang. That's
still
cool
comes,
though.
yeah, he still comes down. It's not like I'm saying that, but I think it just had to do with just like between the pandemic, trying to be careful about practices, everybody kind of moving and like being really busy, working around everything else, it got a little crazy. And it I don't know, it's not like I didn't want, when everything started happening and things started shutting down, I didn't want it to like I was one of I listen to a lot of like people on like podcasts or people talking like people like are either motivated or
Yeah.
but it's like there was this people too like me who got you got I got so in my head about not being motivated.
Yeah, dude. Oh,
Not I didn't do enough today. Like I didn't do enough. I did all this, but I didn't do enough. And I kind of like boggled myself down with that in a sense of like it started reflecting on like band stuff.
yeah.
Oh, so it was weird.
So like with that productivity and stuff, like did you just find that doing your own stuff, it was easier to be more like to actually want to do it? Is that what it kind of came down to?
What happened? This is like the truth of this one is you know the band stuff was a little weird, like I said, because of COVID and everything. And we kind of were like in and out of touch with each other and not communicating the best we could have all been.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that got in my head. Instead of talking to them about that, I kind of just got really in my head about that, and I got
Yeah.
down on myself. Um, and then my I had a cat for like 12 years, and he got really sick, and he ended up
Dang it.
passing. So I lose my cat. My band's being weird. I was having problems with my job, and I just had been through a lot that previous year as well. And I just it sounds silly. Like it's like I was like, you know what? I always write song. You talk about writing a lot on here. You
Yeah.
talk about musicians about that writing. Even just going from like an electric guitar to playing an acoustic guitar. I'm fortunate enough where I have a really good friend who runs a studio called Dexter's Lab Recording up in Milford, and
Nice. I love the name of it.
he's done a lot of great records, and he's super talented. And I was talking to him, he was like, you need to write songs on something different. I think that's like that might obviously spark you again, like for writing, because I kind of
Yeah.
was having motivation. I wanted to write, I was trying to write, but nothing I wrote was coming out very well. So I went up to his studio, and he was like, "You borrow my acoustic. It's a nice acoustic. I don't have enough money like to buy a nice acoustic, so I have a bunch of electric guitars.
Yeah.
So I borrowed it, and honestly, I just like I remember picking up the guitar one day, and like I wrote a song, and before work or something, I sent it to my friend. He's like very honest about it, right? I was like, "What do you think of this? You tell me to write different stuff. Here's just like a little short song, and it's like really it's kind of weird and sad." And he was like, "You should write songs like this." He's like, "This is." I was like, I was like, "F you, man! Like seriously." And I was like, "You're making." I thought he was making fun of me, and he was like, "No, seriously, this sounds great. You should do a record like this, like just you and acoustic."
Yeah.
So I kind of ran with that, and it feels different, man. It's like with an acoustic guitar with a piano, you know, it's just you and that instrument. So if you're
Yeah.
writing a bad song, or your a part is boring, you're gonna physically feel it. You're gonna like feel like it emotional. You're gonna feel it and be like, this is dragging. So, I think it's a more honest way of writing in general, and
Yeah.
I have a bunch of really cool guitar pedals, and I have a cool, like I have like a bunch of gear that I can do whatever I want, right? But like it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, there's really expensive, awesome stuff. There's really cheap, awesome stuff, and people talk about it all the time. But it doesn't matter what pedal or amp you have. It's just about how the songs that you're writing are. They can sound good on anything. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that motivated me to write a little bit differently, and you know him giving me that kind of like that little ad boy on that one kind of helped me and pushed me into like, oh, I'm gonna try to do this. And
Yeah.
I do enjoy it. Like I really do love what I'm doing right now.
Was that one of the songs on the EP?
Yeah, it's the last song actually. Yeah, that's
Nice, dude.
like I said, it was really funny because I wrote that song in like 10 minutes, and I was like, I'm gonna record it. I make sure when I write ideas now, I always like record on my phone, always, even if it's like a stupid like line, or I'll just randomly get ideas all the time, and I make sure to jot it down. It's really important. It's like not said enough. I feel like it's like if you're at work and you're like in the bathroom and you think of like a cool, like poetically, like just write it down, you know?
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. And I mean, obviously, like that's one of the toughest things about creativity is you can't control when you're going to feel creative and when you're going to feel that motivation to write. And I think that's kind of cool, like the idea of changing your in changing the what you're writing on, because that ultimately will make a pretty big difference because it puts you in a different mindset, right? You're hiding less, I guess. You have less to hide behind when it comes down to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a really good way to put it. And it's funny because throughout my life, recording and writing, I was always like, I'm very open and honest with my writing, but no, it's like it breaks it down even more. It's like, no, you have to like, you have to like really, if you say something and it's like a little too corny or something, you have to feel it. You have to be like, well, this is how I'm feeling, literally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. That's that is true. There's that rawness of the acoustic that you have to there you can't really escape. And those mistakes or those things that don't feel quite right really do get amplified by the fact that it's a is it just that it's maybe it's just that it is a quieter, more intimate environment, so those weird things are amplified more, I guess.
Yeah, like when I don't know when I was gonna say with like Tim Barry from Avail or something like those guys like he played Fest. He played Fest a couple times, but like that dude can just go to any show and just play, and his songs resonate just as loud and hard as
Yeah.
if you know.
Yeah, like the I think the cool thing too is with the style that you're doing, the way that you're doing the music, it's it's very challenging to kind of you're kind of bridging a gap, right? Cuz you are coming from that post-hardcore world. And so you are ultimately having to bridge that gap between what you're writing now and what you've written in the past. And do you ever feel like you're like because I don't know how do I word this because I'm curious, like do you feel like there's ever a time where you just it doesn't feel right, it doesn't fit what you're thinking of, what you're hoping for, it just doesn't fit?
Um, it's a good question. Fit as in fit to what I'm currently doing, like.
Yeah, like the you've got like a background of writing music and being in post-hardcore is loud and there's a lot of elements going on when you go from there and you obviously bring some of those things with you, right? Some of those habits or some of those styles with you, and you're starting to write acoustically. Is there times where it just feels like I just can't write like this? I have to completely upend my process. Does it ever feel like that where it just doesn't fit?
Well, that's a really good question. And honestly, like you were saying now, so I grew up uh going to all different kinds of shows. I had a lot of really, I have a lot of really great friends in hardcore bands, in like indie bands. Like I was in like post-hardcore stuff, and like I said, I feel really fortunate. The group of friends that I grew up with and how open-minded I was able to be, and there'd be a lot. Like I said, just because I'm doing this now. I mean, I've always written. So that was when I was younger. That was like the first guitar that I got was like my. It was upstairs in my aunt's uh, attic, and
Uh-huh.
really crappy acoustic guitar, and I bought it home about it, and I got like I had there was like some guitar teacher at my elementary school. But anyways, long story short, it's it's more challenging in a positive way. It's like, oh, I'm singing too loud. It's like
Yeah.
because like you said, right, post-hardcore music, you're like yelling more, you're singing more aggressively in general, and when you're saying something that's very emotionally resonant with you, you'll yell it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy because honestly, these lyrics resonate so deeply with me on this new stuff that I put out that it is hard to not yell it, but but playing it physically, not just recording vocals or something, playing it physically, playing guitar and singing it. I think it makes more of an impact actually, because that's what I was kind of trying to say, right? It's like I'm not hiding behind yelling anymore,
Yeah.
being more like honest, like this is how I really feel, and you can clearly hear it. And I think that's what's kind of frightening sometimes,
Yeah.
that the challenging part. It's like you're being so honest. You're not yelling these lyrics anymore. You're not like writing some really intense guitar part or musical part. You're writing like this very honest and almost like in your head.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's why I was asking the question, because it is, like being a musician, writing music, putting music out there into the ether, right? Like that you have to be. There's a lot of vulnerability there. You're putting out something, not sure how it's going to be accepted. Like you're putting your heart on your sleeve, but there's there's a reason why a lot of bands don't do a full acoustic all the time. You know, even the bands that started acoustic typically transition into a full band, like even like Dashboard Confessional. Um, and his was a similar situation, right? Coming from post-hardcore with Further Seems Forever, and then going to be Dashboard, it was very much a similar concept to what you're doing, and ultimately it came down to how can these lyrics resonate enough to fill in what I had previously with drums, guitar, like a bunch of extra stuff. And so I think it's really cool what you're doing, and I commend you, man. Like that, the EP is super rad. I really enjoyed listening to it because I I don't know if you like like one of the ways that I listen to music is I listen through, but I also kind of hear um the different elements and see, like what stands out to me. And one of the raddest things is there's just something like your voice is so soft a lot of times. It seems intentionally soft to really bring it way back, to kind of strip it way back. Is that a big thing that you focused on? Because obviously, it's almost polar opposite. So maybe in your consciousness, you're like, hey, I don't want to scream, so I'm going to even pull it back further.
Well, I appreciate you noticing that, and I'm glad that you listen or into it too. That's really great. I like I like honestly, I really wanted to try something different. I listened to, I think I was really inspired by a lot of stuff where I would, like I said, it would be haunting. I'd be listening, on my headphones, or I do the same
Yeah.
thing to me. I'm listening to, like, I'm by myself and I'm cranking this song that's like super quiet. The singer sounds, it's almost like whispering, but it's what he's saying and how he's saying it that really makes it like impacting in a way that
Mm-hmm.
different than something else. But I did intentionally sing like that. Yeah, I like I said, totally different. I wanted to just like, this is what I'm really getting influenced by, and I want it to really be a totally different feel for everything.
Yeah, dude. And it's cool because there's like, um, one of the coolest things with it is the way that you perform your music, and the vibe that it has, where you're talking kind of that haunting feeling, that feeling of there's a weightiness to it in a good way. It's not like it's overwhelming or anything, but there's a weightiness to the lyrics and the way that you perform the songs, that it naturally would still fit in multiple genres, right? Like bands that I think of, or musicians I think of that can do this very well as well. Um, this Wildlife has done a fantastic job of being two post-hardcore and hardcore guys coming from that scene and making a crazy duo acoustically, and just so stark the difference between what they made and what they're doing now. And that one to me is like what I would, if I found someone who likes that type of music, I would immediately share yours with them because it matches so well with that genre. um and and yeah, like that. The cool thing though is you can still play shows with these hardcore post-hardcore bands because the emotions and the vibe that you're putting across still match what what these other bands emotions and vibe are getting across, which is, I feel like that's probably really challenging.
I would say that's like the that's definitely the intent, because like I said, um, especially having all these friends, and like being around, obviously growing up and being around bands, like this, like the no bullshit like mentality. It's like
Yeah.
you can see through that when people are lying,
Oh
and I
yeah.
think that's why, um, that's another reason why, like, kind of doing what I'm doing, it was a little hard at first because you can't, like I said, you can't fake it. So it's like I think that a good record is a good record is a good record. It's like it doesn't
Yeah,
matter what you do, how you label it. If it sounds good, it sounds good, and if you're honest about it, then people are gonna hear that. And I think that's what I've always like tried my best to do. To be really,
absolutely.
you know.
Yeah, man. With like the songs that you've written for this record, did any of the songs get written prior, like when you were still in the other band, or was everything completely brand new?
Everything was actually brand new. Yeah,
That's so cool.
just I uh I I hate people keep saying like pandemic record. It's like, but it kind of was like, well, I was actually working while I was finishing up writing it, but um, obviously, but I mean, I definitely made that. I actually made that a goal. I was like, I'm not going to look back at anything. I'm going to just clearly write everything new, and I'm not going to play anything that I have played before. Like literally, I'm not going to
That's
write any.
cool.
Yeah, so I made that like I said, that was like another thing that I wanted to make sure that I did not do.
A very conscious effort. Yeah, because that answers another question I had, which was, is there anything from the past that you'd like to reinvent? But I think it's really cool that it's a clean break, right? It's a clean break and says, hey, I don't regret the music I wrote in the past, but this is the new direction. This is the new sound. This is, and like, I imagine that with that is going to come a lot of emotions, because like to put all of the things that you had accomplished in the past and not reinvent those things, I feel like that's probably another emotional step, right?
I think it was something that I had to do for myself, though. I mean, I'm really grateful for everything that I've gotten to do and the friends that I've played music with and the songs we've all written. Um, but I mean, honestly, like I'm not trying to like hate on it, but like when people like when you go back too much, when you like you say stuff like that to yourself and about what you're doing, it's like you get too caught up in it. So I mean, it's honestly, you put it the best. It's a clean break. It's like, this is what I was doing before. I'm really happy I got to do this, but this is what I'm doing now, and this is it.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't blame you at all for that. I think that, especially with the headspace you've talked about, right? Like losing, I think it might have been a little different potentially if you didn't kind of lose that inspiration for a while, right? But
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's like it's funny because I really was like fighting with myself a lot over that. I was like, I was trying, it wasn't working, and I kind of stopped for a bit. Just was really hard on myself about it.
mm-hmm.
Um, almost during that time, I always say this too. It's like people think like some people, it's like they write music, that's their hobby. They go to work and it's fine, and like some people are career musicians and it's great, but it's not about, to me, there's not a separation in my life. It's like the music I write is very parallel with my life, and it's
Mm-hmm.
it's intertwined. It's not even just parallel; it's intertwined with everything. So it's like having, you know, been so overcritical with what I was writing, it gave me more time to grow, like personally, throughout my life, and figure out, these like inner turmoils I was having, and I got to write about it.
Yeah.
So it helped me write better, basically.
Yeah. And just curious, obviously this is kind of going back, like you've made a very conscious effort to really bring it in and make it more intimate, the sound, the vibe that you get. Um just curious, have you listened to like Corey Wells?
Corey Wells, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
So,
that on I was listening to something, and it's Spotify does that like thing where
yeah.
yeah, and that came on, and that was pretty cool. That's so funny you should mention that. It came on like yesterday, actually.
Yeah, cuz he's such a unique musician. And so, I was just curious because of your background, because of your skill set. Um, it was just a thought of mine, like, would you ever make the conscious effort to write a song where there is a little bit louder vocals, where it is a little bit more, um, I don't know, angsty. I wouldn't. That's probably a terrible word to use, but I couldn't think of a better one. But like, you know what I mean? Would there ever be a time that you would revisit that, or is that also part of that clean break? Hey, I'm not going to write music like that at all.
No, that's not out of the question at all. I definitely, like I said, I'm a very I hate to say this, but I'm a very emotional writer. So
Yeah,
if I'm gonna do it, I just think I had to be more controlled and kind of like start off uh you know with this vibe in mind, with this feel, like you said, right? It's like the record has a vibe. It's like
it
that's what I
does. Yeah,
wanted, and that's what I needed to set in for myself. It's good to have a vibe, and it's good to grow, and it's great to do different things throughout. But as if you have like this feel to your music, that's like that's all that matters, and you can yell, scream, be more aggressive, do whatever you want.
yeah.
But newer stuff I'm writing and all that, I'm definitely a little louder in some parts, and even a little softer, which is pretty cool.
Well, I think that dynamic, the dynamics makes for a really cool overall product, right? And I think the fact that what was it, 5 songs, right? A 5 song EP that you released, um, with that, like having a very consistent, cohesive feel, especially since it's such a short album, is really, really important. But as you write more music and you have maybe potentially longer albums or anything, you have a lot more of that flexibility, right? Because with 5 songs, you're really trying, like, obviously this is the debut EP, right? Like you're really establishing this is me. And I mean, once again, I'll reiterate, like, you came out just swinging. Like, it's fantastic. It sets a really good, like, foundation that says, hey, here's what you can expect from me, and it's sick, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely agree. Um, you got to come out swinging when you're only doing something short, and it's funny because I used to think the opposite. I used to be like, well, you have a full length, it's like there's so much stress on you, like writing a full length. But I almost feel like if you're like, hey, I'm gonna do a 6 song or a 5 song EP, it's like I think Circa Survive just came out with something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard, man. It's really hard.
It
You gotta be you every song. I mean, every song you write has to be the best song you've ever written. But especially on something like that, you gotta make sure every song's a banger. Every song's got something.
Yeah. That's actually something that I've wondered about, right? The idea that every song has to be the best song you've written, right? I wonder, how is that possible? Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not saying that I'm not trying to discount anything. I'm genuinely, like, curious. Like, hey, I know I never is going to do better than whatever, right? Like, which songs are going to do better. That doesn't necessarily mean that the song was not the best song you've written, but you just know that people are going to receive it differently, right? Is
Yeah.
it possible to say, hey, I know this song isn't the best, but it fits, and I'm gonna put it in anyway, even though it's not the best song I've written?
I mean, that's all from, I guess, perspective, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you know, written songs, and I've been like, this song's. I'm like, this song's good enough, right? And then
yeah,
that's personally, I like having people, friends, some outside perspective, listen to it. I don't get too caught up in that. My friend, like I said, my friend who runs the studio, who I'm like really tight with, I'll show him my songs, and he's super honest. The song's boring. This song's good, but is it like? Do you feel that this is as good as what you've done before? Do you feel like is it better? He'll ask me those questions, and I think about it, because it's just there's no time for it. You know what I mean? Like, why are you gonna put out something mediocre? Why are you
absolutely.
why are you gonna settle? I'll work on stuff, and sometimes, like I said, man, I luck out. I'll sit down on a guitar and I'll write a song in like 15 minutes. But sometimes you write a song over like 15 days, or
Yeah,
and I think that it's important to hash out the better ideas than to hash out the weaker ideas just because you're settling. So I
of
think
course.
that um like you said, right? Is it possible that every song you write is the best song you've ever written? I think that it's really um I don't want to say to be like it's like a confidence thing, but it's really a mentality that you have to be like, this is the best song. Like right now, this is my favorite song, or
Yeah,
like this is, and it might not be your favorite song or whoever is like favorite song, but like to you, that's got to mean something. That's got to really hold weight on everything else you do.
yeah, I like that because like, and for you, like, which was the last song that you wrote from the
Oh,
EP?
it was um actually it was fleeting things.
Okay,
Fleet, fleeting things. I finished in the studio, and but I think fully it was that song New Year's 17.
okay. And just as like a follow up, like, and I'm not like hopefully this doesn't come off as like a gotcha, right? Like I'm not trying to ask it that way, but in my mind I'm like, does that mean that Fleeting Things is in
Oh
your
yeah,
mind the best song on the EP?
that oh man, that I love that song. That string arrangement at the end, I like how that came out a lot. That really I like that song a lot personally. Yeah, I love that song.
Okay.
I It's crazy, I've written a lot of songs, and if you were to like ask me about some previous band, be like, what's your favorite song? But honestly, I would give you a song or whatever. But I think about those two songs I just said, and I love them. I love playing them. Like I think I got more used to playing them after I recorded them. Like at first, I was like, these are great songs. I love these two songs. But I, the more I played them physically, I was like, these are really fucking good songs, and
Yeah.
I'm really psyched to play them live. But no, yeah, I definitely feel like that's like one of the best songs. Yeah.
Heck yeah, dude. And like, you know, I I think that the cool thing about it to me is like New Year's 17 seems like a really good climax to the album, like in terms of the build up, right? Because your two singles were I Know I Never and To Bloom, right? Those were the two singles that kind of kicked things off. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And like I my favorite personally at this point is To Bloom, just because I like that kind of electronic haunting vibe that you added to it. There's just something cool about it that as I've listened through it a few times, I'm like, this song just I don't know what it is, but I imagine it sounds very different, obviously in a live setting because of the effects that you had. I don't know if that's the case, but yeah, like I do like that those songs, like the EP flows really well and it feels natural, which is really good. Um, and so yeah, man, I think that's really awesome that that perspective of make every song you write incrementally. It doesn't have to be like and this is maybe where my mindset was wrong, because in my mind, the best song I've ever written, that means that it's really putting the other ones to shame. But it's incremental, right? It's like, oh yeah, this one's 0.5% better than any other song of the last song I wrote, which was 1% better than the last, and it's just incrementally improving, right?
Yeah, I it's like it's all about, like I said, expression, right? So it's like this song, there are certain aspects of every song that is better than the last one, in my eyes as a songwriter, but it might not to somebody who's listening to me, But like I said, it's all about perspective. So
Yeah.
it's what it means to you, and I'm just saying, having that mentality, this is the best song I've ever written. I think it's a good feeling to have when you're done with a song. And I think
Yeah.
that, even if 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're like, oh man, that song sucked. But it's like, at the time you're writing it, you have to feel what you're writing. You have to be, you don't, like I said, you don't want to be confident about everything, but you have to be confident in what you're writing and what you're putting out. And it doesn't, like I said, it's not, I don't write to impress anyone. I don't write for anyone. I write for myself, and that's
Yeah.
been.
So with that, as as part of that, like, what about the times where, like, I'm sure this happens all the time. You're writing, you've got that mentality, hey, I'm gonna write this next song I'm gonna write is the best song I've written. You start writing it, you got pieces that you love, pieces that you hate, and like you just kind of feel like, at what point do you cut it and say, all right, I'm not pursuing this any longer?
It's a really good question. Well, what I do now is I kind of open up like a file, right? Like I open up like a session. I'll open up a session, and I'll record a bunch of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
They're all the problem with songwriting, when you're too critical, is you lose really good ideas because you get too into them, right? You get too into your head about them. So it's like, if you I'll like I said, what I do now is I'll write a bunch of stuff, and this is gonna sound funny, but say I'm like having a really good night, right? I'm getting a couple of really good ideas down. Towards the end of the night, I'll be like, oh man, I suck. These ideas are all horrible. And then, like, what I used to do was I would just delete everything and erase it, and that's
Oh
it. And
no.
I did it for forever. And now what I do is I'm like, these ideas are horrible. I'm gonna stop for a night. So I'll stop. I'll close my computer. I'll walk away, and then I'll come back maybe 2 days later, and I'll be like, this idea is awesome. Like, what am I talking about? Because you get, that's the thing. It's really it's almost problematic, when you're like, this is the best song that I've ever written. Yeah, that's a great way to be, but in practice sometimes I get way too in my head, and I
Yeah.
ruin great ideas. So I try not to do that anymore, right? So to what you were saying, what do you do with the bad ideas? Um it's all about the feel. I read a song and I'm like, oh, this chorus hits great, but these verses kind of suck and they're boring, and
Yeah.
I'll, I'll change them up. But I'll change them in time, right? And then at the end of it, I change a verse, I mess around a bridge or something, I listen back. If the whole feel of the song is great, then that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Uh, Overall, it's like, this part might be too lax or something, but every part should hold weight for the song. My friend Jeff, who's in this band that I look up to a lot called Call It Arson, and they've been playing in Connecticut for a long time. They haven't played recently, but they're still one of my favorite bands ever. He would always say it to me. He'd be like, every part in a song has to hold weight. So if you solo like the bass part or the vocal or the guitar, it's got to be able to carry the song, and that's always important for me
Wow.
to.
That's that's a that's a really interesting perspective, because I always wondered about that with, like, if you were to just target a single part, and maybe this is why I enjoy like those YouTube videos where you've got a drummer drumming over a certain song and you just kind of feel like, wow, this is really, really awesome. And they show you all the different drum parts. And they obviously track their drums at a louder volume so you can hear what they're doing. Maybe that's why, is because they're kind of showing you how each instrument can carry and how it can add, like, everything works together obviously, but they all need to still stand alone. I hadn't thought about that. I like that.
A great example, honestly, the first example when I say that, the first example that I always think about is Death Cab for Cutie. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why a band like that has been playing for so long, and you go back to their old records, I tell you, you solo any of those guitar parts or anything, or any of those bass parts, there's a lot going on that
Yeah.
you don't realize until, like I said, it was solo or something. Bands like that, or like AFI Sing the Sorrow. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
some guitar player playing that, and there's a reason why those records, like, hold the test of time,
Yeah.
stand the test of time, because I mean, it's just they're writing, like we were talking about the best parts they could write.
Yeah. That's cool, but they're also not trying to outdo one another because they're still harmonious. Like,
Exactly, and that's another important thing, right? You gotta stay in your lane, and you gotta work for the song, not for yourself. That's also important. And I'm saying, it's funny because I'm saying that, and I write everything. So
yeah.
like a war, you gotta really zone in on the core of the song, which brings me back to why writing with an acoustic and just a vocal is, you know, in a sense, a little bit easier, because I'm not focusing on that. All that stuff that came, the drums and those like violin parts that I was writing and all that stuff, like that stuff came after. I just got the bare bones of the songs down.
Which is in the genre that you're writing, those bare bones need to shine
Oh,
so bright anyway, that when you start adding other elements to it, that yeah, they can still stand alone, but the fact is, like, the bare bones of the song needs to be so well done, because ultimately in a live setting, that's probably what's going to have happen. You're not going to have samples that you're playing over. You're probably just going to have yourself and a guitar, and you've got to be able to, when you strip it down to just that, it's got to be the song. The core of the song needs to be that, right?
yeah. Like I said, either or, full band or solo. I'm fortunate enough where my friend that's playing, well, he's playing drums for me now, but he, it's funny. I asked him to just play keys. I was like, just play keys, like you do like the violin parts, and he was totally cool with it. But when we started getting together and going over stuff, realizing that he's actually a drummer, he'll do the percussive stuff as well as he'll sing harmonies, like does the keyboard stuff and does the string programming. So it's
Dang.
like, yeah, it's pretty cool. No, I mean, I gotta tell you, that took a lot of practice. That was like, we practiced for a long we've been
Oh, I
practicing for a
bet.
long. It pays off, because playing shows or something, it sounds great live. But like you said, it doesn't. The whole point of the songs that I'm doing in that record is that it doesn't matter if those parts are there. I can play it by myself and it still holds that weight.
Yeah. And obviously, like, it pays to have good friends who are super talented. That's always nice.
Hey, I'm definitely super grateful for literally all the friends that I've made. I mean, I'm fortunate, with that.
Yeah, man. And with, like, obviously this EP, it was released end of July, right?
In July.
How have things been going? Because obviously, I don't know how post post quote unquote pandemic,
Oh,
um
it's
are
so
it's what?
it's so weird. I mean, things going. It's okay. So you, I'm sure you've heard a lot of people talk about this too. Like, you hear people talk about switching to focus. It's like, it used to be all about the live shows and getting to know people like that, and like, you know, handing out flyers. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's about that. I'm not saying that it's not about that, but how everything's going on now, people don't want to grab flyers from me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't like go downtown and like hand out flyers. Like people are gonna get weirded out. Totally understandable. So I've been thinking of it like, well, what can I do like to be on it? And I had a long conversation with my friend Jay. He runs this record store called Static Era Records.
Mm-hmm.
Um, up in Milford, and talk about it. And he's like, you got to think about like what's going on right now. What like he's like, what can you do? He's like, you got to do live streams. You got to do film stuff. And I'm like, you're right. So I would say it sounds funny, but the thing that has kept me the most motivated throughout the stuff right now, not a lot of shows going on, but keeping up with it and wanting to keep doing it is I have a really, really great friend, Kevin. He films all my stuff. He edits it.
Oh, nice.
He takes photos for me. And he's always motivated, man. He's always down to do anything. And he's so talented. It's really like a saving grace to be keeping motivated and keeping active. Like
Yeah.
having somebody like, hey, like I'll come over tonight and we'll film you doing a couple songs. I have a lot of stuff I have a lot of stuff in the bank right now for that. Like
Oh,
that
nice, dude.
yeah, so but I'm like I said, it's reserved. I'm doing it, trying to do it the right way. I posted like a 3 song live thing that my friend and I did. But I'm like I said, that is key right now. Like keeping up with the socials and like the recording videos, keeping it like interesting.
Yeah, dude.
Through. I mean, like I said, their shows are kind of some shows, not really, but then at the same like local shows I'm referring to.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but then at the same time, it's like you got to think like I can't just sit here and feel sorry for myself and be like, oh,
Yeah.
making out any shows, man. I suck. It's like, no, like it's not my fault. It's a lot of stuff going on right now. People don't feel comfortable going out and like doing things. So, post a video. Who cares? It doesn't take me that long to do. It's like not any longer than it takes to go to a show. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's like
yeah.
when that has been honestly, it's been hard, but it's been fun figuring out more creative ways to promote,
For sure, dude.
trial and error, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Dude, I mean, I'm more in the error part when it comes to promotion, dude. Like
fun. It's
I'm
fun. You figure, you know,
what?
it's like you figure it out. It's like
Yeah.
you make a bunch of errors, and you make a bunch of mistakes, but you're learning,
Oh,
and
yeah, dude. That's so cool, man. It's so much work and I think it's really rad like for you obviously were literally starting from scratch, right? Like you had I mean, did anyone from like the previous band, like the following and stuff, was there any migration or was it just literally just starting over?
there was no migration. It was just starting over. Like I said, I initially just thought it was gonna be, I'm just gonna do this myself. I'm gonna do this more acoustic indie stuff. Uh, I'm gonna see how it goes, but I'm not gonna have any help with it. I'm just gonna,
Yeah,
self kind of thing.
dude. That's crazy. I love it, man. That's so exciting. And obviously I've seen a few of your live performances you posted to YouTube. You also have worked with some some companies for like live streams, right? You've done some like live streams for different I don't know if maybe I'm just going crazy. I'm trying to like cuz I've watched I always try to like, see what you've done and see the content you've made and stuff. Um but but obviously things seem to be going pretty darn well at least, you've gotten a lot of great content out there and getting a lot of that visibility up, which is freaking stellar, man.
I know, no, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's like I said, right? Like I'm sorry, like you said it best. It's a lot of error going on, but get it out, right?
With you, like, is there any time where you feel like uncomfortable? Like, sorry, this is kind of like a totally out of nowhere, but like, I was just thinking with like all the live stuff, like, is there times where you feel uncomfortable because of like what you had gotten used to performing prior to this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is another thing that is like that I'm unfamiliar with, that I'm trying to get used to, that um is fun to navigate through and challenging. You know, I don't like to be like filmed and have myself filmed. Like I don't like pictures of myself. I'm like,
Yeah,
you know,
dude.
so but like I said, uh, there's not a lot of shows going on. You gotta like really pull through, you gotta tough through it, and you gotta like figure out a way to get people to check you out. So it's like, I definitely felt uncomfortable at first. Even my friend taking photos of me, but I was like, "Hey, we should take photos. It's a good idea." Blah blah blah. I felt uncomfortable at first with that. Looking at them, I'm like, "Ugh."
Yeah, dude. It's so awkward at times, man.
But like, fortunately, like my friend's like, "Hey, man, I know how you are. I got the smoke machine. We're gonna shut off the lights." Like,
Dude, it really is so nice having friends who know you. That makes it so much easier.
oh yeah, it makes it easier, and it's like you said, it would be, to answer your question, it would be more uncomfortable if it was just some person that I was paying like money, like by the hour or whatever, to come film me.
Yeah.
It it also makes it more personal. It makes like, it's like he's my homie, like, so he like, we get it going, we talk about it, he motivates me, I motivate him, and like,
Yeah.
so it works out better.
Heck yeah, dude. Man, that's exciting stuff. I think it's been like it's really cool the the fact that like you have made so many adjustments and
Yeah.
it seems like you're still making micro adjustments like to really hone this new thing and like how many years were you performing like post hardcore and other music prior to starting this?
Oh man. Um, started. I was playing. I was honestly playing in post-hardcore bands since I was 15 years old. Uh, so it's been like 16, 17 years.
Dang, dude. Yeah, like that to make that transition, dude, and to make it as well as you have is so impressive. Cuz it's like it's such it I want to just make sure people understand and emphasize like it's it is we talked about it already. It is very very different to perform a stripped down acoustic song and write lyrics that fit that and fit that feeling and to do all of that brand new. It's a completely it's like a classical musician trying to perform pop music. It's that kind of transition, right? Like it's yeah, it's a it's the same instrument, but man, it's a very different instrument when it comes to what you're doing. So I commend you, man. That is impressive.
Like, it's funny though, because you're right. It is definitely a weird transition to be actively, like, playing the stuff that I'm doing, but it's like driving, 6 hours back from Ohio at like 1 in the morning. I'm like putting on like the Elliott Smith records, or like Conor Oberst, or like Simon Joyner or something.
Yeah.
I was always listening to this like softer stuff all the time too, like a lot,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
listening to it, and kind of like I said, when it's like 1 or 2 a.m. and you're driving home and you're blasting it, you're really like in this singer's mind with these lyrics. And,
Yeah.
always, like I said, that always really moved me a lot.
Yeah. There's that's something that's super magical. Like I mean, if you haven't heard William Fitzsimmons, definitely check him out too, because I think he's very similar where he's got that kind of whispery, very emotionally driving voice like you have, and it just it's such an emotional roller coaster when you listen to the music. It's so cool.
I wrote that down. I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah, dude. My buddy and I like he and I would always like go back and forth with different a bunch of different acoustic artists and stuff. And William Fitzsimmons was consistently one of our favorites for years and years. And so yeah, like I it's actually kind of cool because when I started listening to your music, I got a lot of vibes of what William Fitzsimmons has done, which it's even cooler that you haven't heard his music, because as you hear it, you'll be like, dude, you can even get some like inspiration, some additional inspiration, you know, because there's something magical about the direction you're going. So yeah, man, that's
Yeah, isn't that really cool? Like either you realize that someone that music that you might like, they haven't ever even heard of, and it almost makes you like that artist even more.
yeah.
Like that. Yeah, that I've definitely gone through the same thing, like hearing an interview or something, and they ask them a similar question, and they're like, I've never heard of them, and you're like, wow, like that's kind of cool, right? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
It is really cool. I agree. And like, it also goes to show how much amazing music there is. You know what I mean? There's so much.
it's so much. Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like this last year alone, um, I've discovered so many more new things that I just simply haven't heard of.
Yeah. Dude, like, and even bands that I've heard of making new music that just takes their previous music to another level, like you were talking about, right? Like writing your best song ever. Like, bands are doing that. They're making some of their best music that they've ever made, even if they've been together for a long time, you know?
Beautiful. It's great.
Yeah, it's super cool. Well, real quick, man, I before we end, I always love to end with just random questions. Do you still have a few minutes?
Yeah, of course.
Sick, dude. All right. So, if you've listened to the podcast, you're going to know which questions they are. But this first one is because I'm a sugarholic. Literally, my wife just brought me a Mountain Dew with mango puree and whipped cream in it. It's freaking amazing. But I'm a sugarholic. It basically is what I'm trying to get at. So what's your favorite candy?
I'm not a big candy person, but I love Oreos though.
Oh, dude, that's a candy. I mean, I guess it's not, but just a standard Oreo. Is there a special flavor that you go for?
Stuffed Oreo. And you know what I like to do? I like to put it in like oat milk and I blend it. Oh, dang, it's kind of like a milkshake, but not really. It's real good. I like
Heck
it.
yeah, dude. That's awesome. You said double stuff?
Double stuffed Oreos.
Dude, have you ever heard the term defenestration?
No, what's that? Oh,
It means to throw someone out of a window.
oh.
So at a job I had, I was so adamant and so in defense of regular Oreos are better than double stuff, right? I was like, the ratio is just magical. It's been, it's a perfect concoction of cream and cookie, and everyone like I was so adamant with my immediate team. There was about 4 of us on the team. So one of my coworkers, he just started doing a poll on the window, because we had glass windows all around us. So he gets a dry erase marker and starts like tallying like how many people like regular Oreos versus double stuff. And I also said, well, the thin Oreos are in the same ratio as the double stuff, or as the regular Oreo. So he starts asking people, do you like thin Oreos or do you like double stuff? And I was like, dude, I said regular Oreos too. But basically he put defenestration above it, and I had no idea what it meant. And he said, if you lose, if we can get a 9-to-1 ratio against what you say, we're going to defenestrate you. And I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, man. So anyway, that was a random story, but is because I was defending regular Oreos over double stuff. Sorry, that was random. But yeah, that one was I'm a fan of just Oreos in general, but
Good, man.
I will
Honestly, peanut butter, chocolate, like whatever, like double stuff, regular, they're all good, man. I love Oreos.
Yeah, dude. I agree. I'm a huge fan. Like, the only one that I don't really enjoy is the mint one. But it's not.
Mint.
Yeah.
About it, but no, I won't. Don't like mint.
Yeah.
Don't like mint.
The birthday cake one though,
Oh,
that one's magical. I didn't know that Oreos were vegan. They don't use any like milk
No, like-
or any I guess because the cream isn't like
It isn't real.
yeah. Okay. Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I'm sure people are like, wait, you can eat that? But all right, next question here for you. This one sometimes, it's hard to come up with a number one, so I'll let you do your top three if you can't think of your top number one. But favorite movie.
Oh man, favorite movie is Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. And I
Best
have,
Jim
like,
Carrey movie ever.
yeah, absolutely.
What's what would some of your like oh man, that genre of movies great. Like Garden State is in that same boat.
Yeah. I would say number two would have to be High Fidelity.
What's High Fidelity? I haven't heard of that one.
Fidelity's with John Cusack. He owns a record store.
Oh,
It's
sick.
really top 5 favorite albums.
Oh,
going on.
cool. Awesome. We'll have to check that one out. I haven't heard that one before, but yeah, dude, Eternal Sunshine.
Oh yeah,
What a heart-wrenching movie, dude.
I love it so much.
What makes you love it so much? Because I agree with you. I just am curious what like drove you to love it.
The editing and the story? It's just like it's really heavy. It's really heavy. The
Yeah.
dialogue is super heavy. Jim Carrey, I love Jim Carrey. And then like you talk about switching genres up. I mean, I was watching him and all these. I was so hyped when I was younger to watch that movie when I had found out about it because I was like, he's like one of my favorite like comedian actors. I love
Yeah.
watching him. He makes ever since I was a kid and then I saw that movie and I was like, oh my god. Like, I
It shows
feel
you
like-
how talented he really is.
Yeah. Oh, so talented.
Yeah, dude. I genuinely, when I watched it, I was like, wait a minute, this can't be Jim Carrey.
Oh, it was,
He just made you feel all the feels in that movie, dude. The poor guy. He just
And, like-
wanted love, man. That's it.
loving like movies too, dude. Watching movies, listening to movie scores, like that is super motivating. Like,
Oh,
that
yeah?
movie- it's inspiring, definitely.
What are some of your favorite movie scores?
Honestly, I'm gonna go new right now. I'm gonna say the new Dune.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. That's
did it,
Hans. Is that Hans Zimmer?
Zimmer, yeah, Hans Zimmer did it. The original Batman from '89 soundtrack. Oh my God, Danny Elfman. I love Danny Elfman first of all. But
So wait, the original Batman, that's the
that
that-
is with Michael.
okay. Who was the villain? Was that the Riddler one?
No, that was with Jack Nicholson being Joker.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen that one in a long time. I have to.
Batman is my favorite thing, so don't feel bad.
No, dude, I loved those like there were just so many, right? Because that one you said that one was Michael Keaton, but then you had George Clooney.
Kilmer. George Clooney's the worst Batman.
Yeah, I love George Clooney, but he was a terrible Batman.
Val Kilmer, and Christian Bale, and then they got Robert Pattinson. And actually, you know what? I like Ben Affleck's Batman a little bit. It's pretty good.
I don't like Ben Affleck very much though, so that doesn't help.
Good Will Hunting. That's got a tie with me right there.
Oh,
That's
Good Will Hunting's fantastic.
Yeah, I could watch a movie every day of the week and not get bored. That's another great soundtrack. A lot of Elliott Smith songs in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say Eternal Sunshine and Good Will Hunting are tied for number one. That's like hard.
Heck yeah, dude. I like Matt Damon a lot. He's the one in Good Will Hunting, right? But yeah, that's a good movie too. And now that you mentioned you love Batman, are you pretty I mean, I've seen the previews for the new Robert Pattinson one, and it's gonna be pretty gritty.
Pretty dark. I cannot wait. It's gonna be the darkest Batman, I think, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and the Riddler's always brought, like, obviously the Joker is a very dark character, but the Riddler also brings a really like that demented nature to Batman.
Yeah, and I definitely I think that's why I'm so psyched to watch a new one, because they did that so well. They didn't make him like corny like they did in the other Batman movies.
Yeah, because Jim Carrey, when he played Riddler, was very corny.
Very corny. His acting was great. He was like super entertaining, but like I mean, yeah, they made it like the character not good.
Yeah, he played the character exactly how they wanted him to play the character. He did a great job at acting, but the character was I mean, that whole movie was kind of campy, though. That was kind of the point, right? But
Not it. Not the worst one. Like I said, is Batman and Robin. That's the worst Batman.
yeah, dude.
How bad
Did
it
you
is.
do you play video games much?
Yeah, I played the whole Arkham Knight series. I'm on the
Dude,
third. That's a lie. I'm on the third one. I'm like almost done with it. Love that series, man. Oh man,
so good, dude.
I definitely, I was really weird. This is gonna sound weird, but I was really weird about video games because I was like, it's gonna motivate me to not want to write or like go out and do things. So like I was playing Halo 3 when I was in high school, obviously,
Hmm.
but then I stopped and I was like, I'm gonna stop. But dude, everybody, when I was my last job I was working at, my friends could be like, you gotta play the Arkham Knight series, man. You love Batman. He's like, you like the comic books, like you're gonna like love it. And oh my god, that made me pick up a game system again. Like that
Yeah.
game is amazing.
Yeah, dude, the stories are fantastic. Like the character development's awesome. The side quests are still fun because they teach you, like you get to see more of like the villains and dude, I liked those games a lot. I feel like those were really well done.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And you said you're on the last one right now?
I'm on the last. I'm like halfway through.
Dude, best one of them all. It had a major twist that I loved, so I'm excited to. You'll have to email me or text me. I'll send you my number. You'll have to text me when you finish it to let me know what you thought of the ending.
I'll do that.
Yeah, dude, because I loved because like Harley Quinn in that one was pretty messed up. Like she, oh dude, that game was cool, man. And like obviously, like for me, I love video games, so like it played really smoothly as well, which is nice.
Oh, it plays great. Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels very natural, like you being able to traverse because the city's huge, dude. It's massive.
And there's a lot, like you said, a side quest. Oh man, there's so many of them.
Yeah, dude, trying to find all the Riddler things and like complete them. Some of them are really freaking challenging.
Really weird places. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool, man. All right, last question here for you. Um, what is your favorite non-music related hobby?
Oh God. Can I say movies? I like
Yeah.
to watch movies. I mean, definitely, it goes hand in hand. Like I was talking about soundtracks, right?
Yeah.
I like, I like to, I like to like to watch movies. I like to, like fix up my house, like home improvement kind of stuff. That's
Oh,
kind of,
nice.
for me. Right. I'd like to when I can read. I've been trying to get more into reading, which I have been enjoying, like poetry books and recommendations, from friends, like nonfiction books. But yeah, I would say that watching movies, man. It's
Heck yeah, dude. If you're looking for a cool nonfiction that's kind of inspiring, Authentic was really rad. It's the story of Paul Van Doren, the guy who started Vans Shoe Company. Um, really cool. I
cool.
That one and Shoe Dog were both really cool. I'm not a big shoe guy, but something about like because Shoe Dog was about Phil Knight, the guy who founded Nike. I don't know what it was about like these two shoe companies that just made these really awesome stories that were just so like these individuals who just had overcome so much and accomplished so much. It was really cool. So
Shoe community too. It's pretty cool. Like when you see who made what and who designed what sneaker, it's so cool.
yeah, there's a lot involved that I didn't realize. Yeah, dude, that's a whole other world, man. I was watching on YouTube. I think there's Complex or
Oh, there's so many different complex videos of like people going like sneaker shopping.
yeah, sneaker shopping, and they were dropping
Money.
money.
Yeah, and like and Vice has a couple really cool sneaker documentary, like short documentaries that you should definitely check out. They're really interesting.
Cool.
It's cool. It's funny. I'm YouTube, man, for documentaries, like little short ones, 20-minute documentaries, so interesting stuff about like psychology too. Or,
Yeah.
I watch all that kind of stuff, parallel universe stuff too. Like it's really interesting the arguments and complexities behind all this.
Yeah, dude. It's funny. I've actually been. I watched a Vice documentary about. He was a drug dealer. Arrested for dealing cocaine. Like started dealing cocaine at 15 years old. Arrested at 17 for for having like a bunch of cocaine in his possession. And he got arrested again later, like a few years later after he got out, and now he has like he'd basically, you know, he was a convict and he was really fat because he just started living this lavish lifestyle, and by the end of it, he's like, yeah, now I have a boot camp, like a fitness boot camp that's a convict. Like people go in and get mug shots. They go through like a jail door, right? So they're in this cell and they have to like go through this whole convict training boot camp. I was like, dude, this is fascinating. So
And so too, you know.
yeah, it's cool, man. Like they have a lot of them. There's a lot of documentaries. I didn't realize they made so many.
So glad I didn't ask what my favorite records are because I could not answer that.
Dude, that one I used to ask that one, but it's always so hard. So like typically the question I'll ask, if like, you know, like I'll actually ask it now, is like what you're listening to now, which is a very different thing than like what's your favorite, right?
What I'm listening to now. So that new Sufjan record he came out with.
Oh yeah, dude.
That record's really good. You know, honestly, there's this band from Omaha, Nebraska called Mayday. They're like an old Saddle Creek band.
Oh, okay.
And I gotta say, that stuff is seriously gut wrenching. It really pulled me in. Ted Stevens plays in cursive, plays guitar in cursive, actually.
Okay, yeah, I know Cursive.
Cursive is one of my favorite bands. But I would say like that band Mayday or Lullaby for the Working Class, those bands, I wish they would repress those records, first of all. But I wish Saddle Creek would do that. But I mean, Mayday is like a sleeper, man. I feel like people don't. That and Gregory Alan Askov, I think that's how you say his name.
Okay.
That guy's really good too.
Oh, I know that one. Gregory Alan, like Asakov, like Asakov or something like that.
Your names, man. I'm so bad.
No, you're good. I've heard him though. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I've been listening to I think Every Time I Die's new record's actually really good. I've been listening to that a lot lately.
Oh yeah, because obviously you're not gonna change the music that you were still into, right? So like you're gonna still listen to that stuff.
Like, well, I mean, that Phoebe Bridgers, you know, I listened that record when that record came out. Oh, Punisher, oof.
Oh, Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's really popular amongst a lot of like, I didn't expect it to be amongst a lot of pop punk and like a lot of like hardcore. Like a lot of the guys I've talked to, they really enjoy that record too. And I was like, it's so random. It seems, you know, because between
Like,
her and dang it, I can't think of the other girl's name, but those two girls are really popular amongst the alternative world.
oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really great records. I hate to be like female fronted, you know, because it doesn't matter, but it's great that there's a lot of great records coming out to show a younger generation more female empowerment.
Yeah.
You know, or, you know, more openness about that. You know, I think that's really important in music in general that has been bogged down by these like shitty over, you know, masculine men who are just like think they can run everything. I think that's stupid, you know. I think that it's like there should be more equal balance of like respect in that, you know. And
Yeah.
brings it back, but my whole point was that it brings it back to what we were saying, what you said in the beginning. What we were saying in the beginning is like, you know, those records, yeah, they're soft and they're powerful amongst any genre of music that you personally like because the songs are good and there's no bullshit, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm remembering Julian Baker. Julian Baker and Phoebe Bridges are both really popular.
And Claire, this record I really like. It just came out. Scroll Clario, produced by Jack Antonoff. He did like Taylor Swift.
Oh, sick! Yeah, Jack. I mean Antonoff. He's the one who does, who is part of the format, and then whatchamacallit?
He was in Steel Train too.
Steel Train. That's the one. No, he didn't. Yeah, he wasn't in the format. He's in Steel Train, and then obviously, what is it? I'm thinking of their songs, but I can't think of the band. But
He does Bleachers now as like a band.
Dude, Bleachers is his first. I didn't like the second one nearly as much, but his first record with Bleachers was
hard,
off the charts, dude. So great. I friggin' loved it. And sorry, one last follow-up question. You said that you also like doing like home improvement stuff. What's the most recent project you've done?
Hung a whole bunch of lights in my house.
Oh, nice, dude.
Friends come over and made fun of me because I was like, "Where should I hang this light, guys?"
That's awesome.
All the time, though.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Well, bro, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm really glad that all of the scheduling conflicts we've had didn't drive you away and make you just bail on me. So I really appreciate that.
Anything, not your fault. You know, it's life, right? I'm glad we made it work, and thanks again for having me on, chat.
Oh, absolutely, dude. You have a stellar weekend.
You too.
All right, peace out. Awesome. William's a really rad guy. That was fun. Be sure to check out his music, Willcody, WILLCODY, and go send him some love on Instagram, Facebook. Show him some love on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen. And yeah, I think Monday will be the next podcast because we've got 2 that day actually. So yeah, look out for that, and we should have some fun. But